Hi guys, Sue back here. I've got a great card today. I'm calling this my triple beaded buckle card. Try and say that one fast 3 times early in the morning. But we're using 3 different sizes of our microbeads today. Now these are really interesting because we have different sizes giving you different textures of your beads. This is the very largest size, okay? This is our very small, and I'll put it next to our medium size so you can see the difference in it. Microbeads can be changed color quite easily with alcohol inks, but different sizes does give you different options that you can do. So we'll go through those in a minute. Let's get a little further. I'm also going to be using Labels 30 by Spellbinders, and I'm going to be using for the sentiment Decorative Labels 22 from Spellbinders. And to give a little texture to our background, I've got the Creative Expressions Lattice folder. This is one of my favorites. Okay, let's set these aside. And we're going to do our background first, okay? So I'm going to start with a piece of coconut white card. And if you notice, the card is larger than the embossing folder is. This is because I can easily create a larger size using this folder. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of my removable tape, and I'm going to line it up in here, square with the edge, and just put a tiny little piece of tape. Oops, there we go. Close my folder, and I'm going to get my plates ready here. In fact, let's just make a little bit of room. Put this up there and get what I need. I've got a base plate for my sandwich. Next is my card and my folder. And my tan mat goes over on top of this. Because this is a clear single-sided embossing folder, we use the Creative Expressions adapter plate. Just to show you that, it just comes just like that. And you can see it's nothing more than it's slightly thinner than the raspberry plate and needs to be used with the single-sided embossing folders. Okay, so it's ready to run through for the first pass. Just feed it through our grand caliper here. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to undo my tape, I'm going to line this back up, so it just takes a second to line up those lattice embossed pieces, and you want to just be able to slot it back into place and catch the light. Sometimes that really helps. And I'm going to close the folder down. Now, in order not to get a line there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that already embossed section off my plate, okay? Holding it in place, I'm going to put my tan mat there and then put my white adapter plate back over that. We'll run it through. Now you can take a little more time when you do yours and make sure that it's right in place, but I think we've done okay. Let's just see. Take this out of there. We'll put this behind us and move these, and we will show you. And as you can see, there's not a line where your join is, so you've got a perfectly fluid background for that. So let's put this onto our blue mat that we've already prepared. I've got a little bit of mounting foam. You know how I like my mounting foam. And we're going to pop these off and get this centered. Looks pretty good right there. Okay, I'm going to set that over there for a moment, and we're going to work on our focal element. Now, what I've done is I've created a buckle card using the Labels 30. Now, they tend to, I mean, they're a label shape, so they're not as detailed and intricate as other dies. So we're going to add interest with our microbeads. So I've already done one ahead of time because I've got 2 of this size. And I'm going to go ahead and get these. In fact, I'll tell you what we're going to do first. We're going to put our self-adhesive sticky sheet on there. And it's got a matte side and a gloss side. I keep reminding you, I know I've told you before. If you hold that with the matte side towards you and just roll your thumb, just ever so slightly, you will be able to catch that adhesive and peel it back so it stays on the matte side. It tends to be a little bit easier to cut through. I'm going to put that into place. Make sure it's nice and smooth. Get rid of that. In fact, we'll tidy up a little bit since we're going along. And now I'm going to take my Labels 30s and put them all into place here. In fact, we are going to cut, let's see, we've got one here, so I'll need one more to 3 different frames, and we can do that in one fell swoop, which is really nice. So we'll tape it into place, and also because I've got the matte side, I can use my removable tape. It's really, really easy. So there's the largest one. Let's get this one centered in there, and you can take a little more time and make sure it's perfect, but we'll just keep going. And then the next one, which will give me my smaller frame, and this will cut the center out of it. Looks like a lot there, doesn't it? But I think we can cut that really, really easily. And since I've already stamped my sentiment, we'll go ahead and use the Decorative Labels 22 die and put that on the plate at the same time. So let's see, right about like that. I think that will work. Okay, so let's get what we need here. I need a cutting plate and a base plate. So I'm going to put my frames on my cutting plate. In fact, let's turn them that way and put my sentiment there. Top it with my base plate, and we're going to run it through the machine. Now, if you've never seen the Grand Caliber in action, it's a great machine. You can use a lot of different dies at once because of the A4 size, so it really does speed up your crafting. Looks beautiful. I tell you what I'm going to do real quickly is I'm not embossing those because whenever you use a self-adhesive sticky sheet, you do not want to emboss. The tan mat tends to crack it. So I'm just going to give my sentiment a quick run through because that will give a little more detail to it and add to our card. Pop this through real quick. Go. And then we'll leave that right like that for the moment and do a little bit of inking before we start in on the other items. I'm using Weathered Wood Distress Ink by Tim Holtz and just a little bit of cut and dry foam, and we'll just give it ever so slightly a color around the edge there. Just draws your eye into the center. There we go. Should be able to pop that out. Let's see. Take that out. And this one's very detailed, so what I'm doing is I'm running my finger around the inside of it to loosen it. And just keep going until it moves a little bit, and then you can see, you can use a pokey tool and pop it up. There we go. Get right under that, and that should peel right out. There we go. See how pretty that turns out? Okay, we're going to come back to that in a few minutes. So let's set these aside. Now, we're going to use our microbead. So what I've already done is I've decanted the smallest bead and the medium-sized here, and we're going to just go for the large size. And I'm going to take and show you the difference, and you can see them. And just decant them into a plastic container. So you can definitely see the differences in the size. Oop, there's a little guy. There we go. Okay, set those aside. So taking my frames, let's undo them all here. Untape them and get them out of their dies. Just takes a second since we tape everything so dearly. Okay, so I have a very large one, which is going to go in there. I've got a medium-sized one that's going to go in here, and a smaller one that's going to go in here. So I'm just going to peel back my sticky sheet. There we go. Let's use the pokey tool to get it started. All right. So we can put this one in the smallest one and bead it all up. And there again, you just need to give it a good press onto there so it sticks, and wipe any excess off the back. Okay, let's do the largest one next. And get that started again with my pokey tool. There we go. Now these are big beads, so you really want to be able to press in firmly, and you may even have to go back through and add some in individually, but they will stick on there. But you can definitely see the differences in size, so give it a good press into that and work your way through it, because there's not quite as much room as obviously the small bead, so you will find things need to be firmly pressed into place for this one. But that should work for this point. Let's move these aside for the moment, and we'll do this last one here. Actually, we have two to do. So we'll take the backing paper off of this. Pop that one in there. Give it a good press. And then I'll do this one at the same time. And we'll get everything beaded for our buckle card. This is the hardest part of the whole card, just getting the backing off, isn't it? There, pop that in there. So give it a good firm press all the way around to pick up those medium-sized microbeads. And then check it. If you've missed any spots, you can go back through and give it another dunk and then take any excess off the back. It's kind of fun to play in them, though, I have to say. I'm sure this is something the kids would like to help you with in your crafting. There we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work on making our buckle card. In fact, let's just pull this aside, and we're going to lay these like this, and lay these like this, and lay this like this, okay? So let's see, we're just going to weave this through, oops, a little bit of tape there. We're gonna go up, we're gonna go under, we're gonna go up, and I'll tell you what, pokey tool really helps here. I'm gonna go under this one, weave it through, and then you're gonna have to catch it right up here. Let's see if I can get that. Oops, missed the corner. Let me get that little guy up there. There we go. Up, under, and up. Does that make sense? There we go. So now we've got our buckle completely woven. Now the way I do this is I will usually put this upside down, get it where I want it, where it looks like it's even. I'm not going to fuss with it too much at this point, but I'm going to use a little bit of mounting foam across that to secure it. And that should work really nicely. And then we'll just attach it. In fact, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put a tiny bit more on the top and bottom just to give it a little bit of stability. Put the piece there, and I've got it doubled, so let's do 2. Keep the height of it the same. And when you do yours, you can actually put mounting tape all around the entire back if you prefer to keep it nice and stable to your card. Okay, so then we're going to peel our backing paper off and put it onto our card. Oops, there we go. About like that, and this should hold it right about in place. That's not too bad. And get our sentiment, which we buried here. Let's find that little guy and put a little bit of mounting foam on the back of that. Now, sometimes when you're using the microbeads, it's really a good idea to use a little bit of glue on here too, so it's really secure, but just for the demo, I'm just going to go ahead and put this in there. Now, that's basically finished off for us. The only thing I did was add a few pearls around to the corner and completed my card, but you can see how a beautiful triple beaded buckle card can be made very, very easily.